Jai Hind to all. Today I am here to explain a very important topic of the project management, software project management, and that is the project risk management. Okay, that is very crucial and important topic of any project, that may be hardware project itself, because you have to consider, you have to plan, you have to make a strategic plan for the different type of risk that may happen during the execution, during the development of that project. And if you have not any particular plan, then that risk may hamper your project, and even in the worst case that can lead the failure of that project. So, let us see what are the project risk first of all. Okay. So, what are the risk? You know that risk means any undesired activities, any unwanted events, okay, that you are not supposed to happen, you are not supposed to happen in your particular project. So, that unwanted or undesired activities are the event that may occur during the development of a project, that may be say as project risk. Okay. Because every project, that may be any service project, hardware project, or that may be any software project, everywhere risk you have to assume, you have to consider, that may happen. In very simple sense, in very simple case like natural disaster, that may be happen at any time, okay, like flood, caught fire. So, you have to plan, you have to make a proper plan for that, so that their effect, their bad effect can be minimized, or you can say their impact can be minimized, and with a strategic plan, with a proper planning. If you have not planned previously, then certainly that hamper your project, that can crash your systems. So, risk cannot be stopped at all, that is very important. This risk cannot be, because there is no previous indication of that particular type of risk, and it may be possible that at start you feel that this type of risk never be happen, okay, but that is not the actual case. Impact of the risk can be minimized with proper plan, with proper risk management plan. Let us see the type of risk. Natural risk, though we know that, okay, like natural disaster, earthquake, on all these things, that may damage your office, your software, your hardware, your human power, your skills. Beside that, there is some other type of project risk also that may happen in your project. Let us see. In general, that is the 9 common project risk. Okay, actually these content I have taken from this particular online, this www.simplylearn.com common project risk article. Okay, so this article from internet we have taken these. So, that the 9 common risk, and that is cost risk, first one. Cost risk, schedule risk, performance risk, then operational risk, market risk, governance, strategic risk, legal risk. So, all the risks can be broadly classified in these 9 terms. Let us see what is this. Cost risk means, as the name suggests, cost. That means there is a chance that your project may go over budget. That means that cross the expected budget that you have planned initially. That is a risk, that cost of project increased. There are certain number of parameters responsible for that increase, like some particular technologies, cost of that technology risk, technologies increased, skills persons, their cost increase in the market during the project development. So, there are the number of factors that can increase the cost of that project beyond the expectation. So, that is the cost risk. Other is schedule risk. What is this? Schedule risk means if project is not scheduled properly, that means project means all the activities is not planned or scheduled properly, then there is risk of schedule. Schedule risk means it may be possible that your project is not meet the deadline. That means at any cost you are not going to complete your project at a expected time. That is a risk, that is known as a schedule risk. Then performance risk. Performance risk means during the means after completion of the project, it may be possible that you are testing your project and your project is not give the result properly. That means your project does not fit on the purpose. For what purpose you are develop that project, that is not completely achieved. So, that is known as performance risk. Operational risk. Operational risk means when you are your project is running or your development is going on, then some particular due to some unavailability of a particular resource, okay, that is not operated properly. Then the market risk, that is that nowadays a very high competition, tight competition is there in market. So, if you are not properly manage that project or you not launch that project well before the time, within time, then there is always risk of that is known as market risk, means competition will be very high and your project may fail, may not achieve the same expectation as you set at the start of the project. Governance risk. Governance means top of boards, a board of managers, their policies, their protocols, their rules. If they are not define a proper rules, a fair rules, fair policies, then that is also a risk that your project not develop, okay, or that cannot be developed a quality project. Strategic risk, that is a particular type of performance risk. And the legal risk, legal requirement, as you know that for every project, every product, there is some legal requirement that you have to fulfill, that you have to take some NOC from the government. Okay. So, everything that should be properly managed, otherwise these risks may arise during the project, and if they arise, then there should be some particular action plan that is well defined before. Then next project risk management. Let us see what are the basic steps that we have to perform, that project manager have to perform during the management of the risk. So, there are basically 4 steps, that is well known steps. First is the risk identification, next one is the risk quantification, risk response, and finally risk monitoring and control. Let us see one by one. Let us go through each of the steps in project risk management. First one, risk identification. As I have already told you, there are some 9 common risks that may arise. So, you have to initially identify. Okay. So, managers face many difficulties when it comes to identify and naming the risk that occur when undertaking the projects. Okay. So, these risks could be resolved through structured or unstructured brainstorming or strategy. It is important to understand that risk pertaining the project can only be handled by the project manager and the other stakeholder of the project. Okay. So, these risks only can be managed by the project manager or other stakeholder, means like development team, test team, okay, validation team, all these teams, okay, all these are the stakeholders. So, that can manage the risk. Risk such as operational or business risk will be handled by the relevant team. The risk that often impact a project are supplier risk, resource risk and budget risk. Supplier risk means supplier risk would refer to the risk that can occur in case the supplier is not meeting the timeline to supply the resources. If the supplier is not providing you resources well in time, then certainly that hamper your project delivery time. Okay. Similarly, resource risk, if a certain type of resources is not available, then that may hamper your project. The quality as well as timely delivery of the project, both are hampered. Resource risk occur when a human resource used in the project is not enough or not skilled enough, both cases. If a particular human resource is not available, that is also a risk, and if available but not skilled enough as per expectation, then that is also a type of risk, that is available but that cannot perform well task. Budget risk would refer the risk that can occur if the cost are more what is budgeted. That means, if the cost of project going beyond the expectation, beyond your specification of the, beyond your budget, that is a kind of budget risk. After identification of the risk, what are the probable risks that may happen, you have to quantify. Okay. So, this is known as the risk quantification. Quantify means giving some label, what is impact, high, low, medium, okay, very high, critical. So, these are the different label of the risk. This is known as the quantification. So, risk can be evaluated based on quantity. Project manager need to analyze the likelihood of or chances of a risk occurring when with the help of matrix. Okay. So, these type of matrix, here you can see that on the x axis impact is given, okay, and on this y axis probability is given. Probability means likelihood, chances, what is the chance, you say that this, there the 50% chance of this, 20% chance, these chance is known as probabilities. So, using the matrix, the project manager can categorize the risk into 4 categories as low, medium, high, critical. One thing here I want to explain, that this is not the standard that you have to means quantify in the 4 category only, and some people may categorize in 6 category, like very low, low, medium, high, very high, then critical, it may be also. But let us take one means case, that suppose project manager divide the risk, impact of risk in 4 categories, quantify the risk in 4 category, that is the low, high, low, medium, high and critical. Okay. The probability of occurrence and impact of the project are 2 parameter that is used for placing the risk in the matrix category. So, how we can quantify that risk, that is high or low or critical or medium? They are the 2 parameter that help to categorize. First one is the impact, other one is the probabilities. Okay. Here we can see that this probability की बात करें तो यहाँ पे this is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, means this probability likelihood is divided into 4 level, 1, 2, 3, 4, then impact 1 for low impact, then 2, then 3, then 4. Okay. Then by taking the risk, by analyzing the risk, you have to assign the probability and then impact. And suppose any particular risk that have the probability 2, likelihood is 2 and impact is 4. So, where that particular type of risk is go, that can be put in this matrix. So, here we can see that 2 is here. Let us see just 1 minute. This I am talking of this value. Suppose a particular risk has the probability 2 and the impact is 4. So, where this will come? This come in this cell. That means that particular type of risk is quantified as high risk. Okay. Similarly, suppose probability likelihood of a particular risk is 4 and the impact is 2 or 1. So, that go in the this one cell, rows then column. So, this will be medium type of risk, their impact will be medium. So, similarly, they means project manager have to quantify this particular risk. Then third one step, that is very important, risk response. So, when it comes to risk management, it depends on the project manager to choose strategies that will reduce the risk to minimal, and the project manager can choose between the 4 risk response strategies that are outlined here. Okay. That means, after quantification of the risk, project manager have to respond. Okay. So, how they respond? There are the 4 type of strategies. So, any one or all the 4 can be chosen, that depend on the project manager. Okay. There is not any thumb rule. So, risk can be avoided, first one. So, is it possibility that that particular risk can be avoided? They have to analyze. Pass on the risk, risk can be passes. Third one, take corrective measure to reduce the impact of the risk. And the last one, acknowledge the risk. Okay. So, these 4 strategic plan are there, but each and every plan is not applicable everywhere, each type of risk. Okay. That is the work of, that is the job of the project manager to analyze which type of risk, for which type of risk, which type of strategy is more appropriate. Then the last step of the risk management, that is very important, is risk monitoring and control. Risk monitoring and control. So, risk can be monitored on a continuous basis to check if any change is made. New risk can be identified through the constant monitoring and assessing the mechanism. So, actually the risk management is a continuous process. Okay. That means, prior the start of the project, you can initially manage, you can initially acknowledge or identify some risk that may happen on the basis of past experiences, on the basis of experiences of same type of projects you have already done. But you have to continuously monitor, because some new type of risk may occur, may arise during the development of the project. Okay. So, that risk monitoring is continuous process, that is why. And risk can be monitored on a continuous basis, okay, to check if any change is made. And if you feel that some changes is going on, means something is not going on as per the expectations, then you have to, you should be alert, and you have to analyze what is the possible cause, what is the remedies. So, new risk can be identified through the constant monitoring, okay, and assessing the mechanism. So, okay, in this class we have talked about the different steps that are required in the risk management. At the start of the lecture, we have seen what are the definition of risk, what are the broad categories of the risk, and then we have seen the 4 major steps that are required to manage the risk. So, by this way we have completed this chapter. Thank you.